You're scrolling through Instagram on February 14th, watching couples post sunset dinners and hotel room roses, and you're sitting at home in sweatpants with zero guilt about it. Everyone assumes you're bitter, that you're avoiding love, that you're scared of intimacy. But the truth is quieter than that. You're not rejecting romance, you're rejecting the performance of it, and your nervous system knows the difference. This isn't bitterness, it's boundary setting in disguise. Because here's what most people miss. Staying home on Valentine's Day isn't about hating love. It's about protecting yourself from a version of love that never felt safe to begin with. Your brain learned early that expectations around romance come with emotional risk. Being seen, being compared, being found lacking. And somewhere along the way, you decided that opting out was less painful than showing up and feeling invisible anyway. You're not broken for this. You're actually paying attention. Let's start with the most misunderstood part. When you stay home, it's not because you don't want connection. It's because you've learned that forced intimacy doesn't feel like intimacy at all. It feels like a test. Valentine's Day comes with scripts, dinner reservations, flowers, public affection, and for someone whose nervous system is wired for authenticity over performance, that pressure doesn't feel romantic. It feels suffocating. Your brain reads obligation as threat. So staying home isn't rejection, it's regulation. There's also this. You've probably noticed that the idea of Valentine's Day bothers you more than actual love does. You can enjoy quiet moments with someone you care about on a random Tuesday, but the minute there's a holiday attached, something shifts. That's because your brain associates romantic milestones with comparison, with proof, with needing to show the world that you're lovable. And if you grew up feeling like love was conditional, like you had to earn it or perform it correctly, then Valentine's Day doesn't feel like celebration. It feels like an audit. But here's the part nobody tells you. Staying home isn't avoidance. It's actually a form of self-loyalty. Because at some point, you realize that participating in something that makes you feel small just to fit in isn't worth it. Maybe you watched people around you fake happiness for the aesthetic. Maybe you went through the motions once and felt emptier afterward. Either way, your brain flagged it. And now, staying in feels like the only honest choice. It's not that you don't want love, it's that you refuse to perform it for people who wouldn't notice if it was real or not. And this is where it gets interesting. The older you get, the less this behavior feels like hiding and the more it feels like clarity. In your 20s, staying home might have felt like failure, like proof you were unlovable. But in your 30s, it starts to feel like self-respect. You're not rejecting connection. You're rejecting the idea that connection only counts if it happens on a specific day, in a specific way, with a specific audience. That shift, that's not you becoming colder. That's you becoming more yourself. There's something else happening under the surface. Staying home gives you control in a world that constantly asks you to be vulnerable on someone else's timeline. Valentine's Day is loud. It's public. It's full of expectations you didn't set. And for someone whose nervous system craves predictability, opting out isn't sad. It's stabilizing. You're not running from love. You're running from chaos. And your brain rewards you for it. Because in that quiet space, alone or with someone who doesn't need the holiday to prove anything, you finally get to breathe. This behavior also protects something deeper, your idea of what love should feel like. Because if you've spent years watching romance get reduced to gestures and Instagram captions, staying home becomes an act of resistance. You're not interested in love that performs. You want love that sits still, that doesn't need an audience, that doesn't require a reservation to prove it's real. And until you find that, or until you feel it authentically, you'd rather be alone than pretend. So no, you're not bitter. You're not scared. You're not missing out. You're just someone who learned that peace matters more than proof. That being alone with your integrity intact feels better than being seen in a way that doesn't fit. And honestly, that's not something to fix. That's something to trust. You're not the problem. The performance is.